ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया आस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय ॐ शान्तिः 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 अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणगुंसवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इत्युक्तशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 आप्यायन्तु मम अङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुः श्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्तिः 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 वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य मानीस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनादितेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 भद्रं नो अपि वातय मनः ॐ शान्तिः 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 भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तगुंहदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Narayanam Padma Bhuvam Vasishtam Shaktim cha Tatputra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Mathasya Shishyam Shri Shankaracharya Mathasya Padmapadam cha Hastamalakam cha Shishyam Tam Totakam Vartikakaram Anyanasmat Gurun Santatamanatosmi. Om Vishwam Darpana Dishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pasyanat Manimayaya Bahirivot Bhutam Yatha Nidraya Yat Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye Bijasyantarivangkuro Jagadidam Prang Nirvikalpam Punaha Maya Kalpita Desha Kala Kalana Vaichitriya Chitri Kritam Maya Viva Vijrambhayatyapi Maha Yogi Vayasvechaya Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye Yasyaiva Sphuranam Sadatmakam Asatkalparthakam Bhasate Sakshat Tattvamasiti Veda Vachasa Yo Bodhayatyashritan Yat Sakshat Karanat Bhavena Punaravrittir Bhavambho Nidhau Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye Nana Chidragatoddarastita Mahadeepa Prabhavaswaram Jnanam Yasya Tu Chakshuradhikarana Dvara Bahispandate Janamiti Tameva Bhantam Anubhatye Tat Samastam Jagat Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye Deham pranamapindriyanapi chalam buddhim cha shunyam viduhu Stri balanda jatopamastvam Branta bhrisham vadinaha Maya shakti vilasa kalpita mahavyamoha samharine Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. So I thought what we would do today is do a meditation. So far in this course of following the Brahma Sutra, we have not done meditation as we usually do in our teachings. And I think that most of you are familiar with the fundamentals of meditation, the preparation for meditation. So I'm not going to go through all of those, even though this is a new class on meditation today. If you're interested, then we are actually going through the systematic treatment of the preparation for meditation, dhyanam, in the Drikdrishya Viveka class, which is also going on. So I think that if you were to go back maybe a month, maybe 2 months back, you will see a step-by-step preparation for meditation. So if you're interested, you can certainly go there. So I won't do that today. We will straight away go into meditation, nididhyasanam, because I think most of you are pretty experienced students, I hope. And so we will go into that today. Just a few words of introduction to meditation. So it's interesting that despite a systematic study of Vedanta, sometimes the fruits of the Vidya are not obtainable to an individual. This is a very common experience, nothing to put down oneself down for. This is very expected almost. In fact, if you are able to listen to the Brahma Vidya, Atma Jnanam, without doing meditation, your mind immediately gets into the perception, direct sakshat karanat, then you are an unusual person. That means you have done all of this in the past life. It is not easy to be to that person. It's very rare. So the normal expectation is that even after the study of Vedanta, as we normally say, we get these responses from students, how come I don't feel it? That's because it's not quite focused yet on, the mind is still scattered as though, and it needs to be focused. So the meaning of meditation is to allow the mind to focus. I usually, from Swami Dayanandaji's training and so on, I don't use the word concentration. Concentration has a kind of a sound of pressure. No, it's more of a focus. And so nididhyasanam is a manner to focus on the essence of the vidya, of the knowledge, which my mind is not able to grasp because of the scattering nature of the mind. Here an example I think is a very, very important, very, very relevant example to that, which is that if you have a sunlight, bright sunlight, and you have a piece of paper, the sunlight can light up the piece of paper. But here the piece of paper might be something that is equal to avidya, is equal to ignorance. And this will become a little bit more apparent when we do the meditation today. But a piece of paper that can act as a blocking of the sun. You can even visualize that you are, that's a good thing to do, maybe in the visualization, that you have a piece of paper like this. And you're looking at the sun. Let's say this light is the sun. And you are blocking that sun from you by this piece of paper. And so the sunlight and the sun, the heat of the sun, the light of the sun and the heat of the sun is unable to block away this piece of paper because it acts as a shield. It's exactly what we went over last week on Hiranmayena Patrena. And so the patra means some kind of a vessel. If this were to be made into a cup, that will become a vessel. It can also be used as a shield. Okay? And so the sun is unable to melt away the shield. But if you were to focus the sun rays onto the paper, it would burn away and melt away. And you know, this is interesting. It just reminded me, that's the reason I'm actually bringing this particular example in. Just recently we had a ceremony, a puja ceremony done at our Sanatana Dharma Kendra. And this was during the day, about 2 o'clock or so. And the priest there, Kumaraswamy Joshi, is very well learned about all of this. And so when this was done in a homa. So not just a yajna, but a homa, where fire is lit and you have to offer the oblations to the fire and so on. You're familiar with that. But what Joshiji did was he asked my son, this was a ceremony performed for my son and his new baby, and so he asked him to please come with him outside when there is enough sunlight, and he had a magnifying glass, some kind of a glass that he had with him, he carried with him. And so he actually focused the glass on a piece of paper. And I'm not sure if it was a piece of paper, or I think he did directly onto a wick, to a cotton wick. And then the cotton wick caught fire. And that is the fire that Joshiji brought into the yajna, to the homa, and then lit the fire from it. So this is all done in the tradition of the yajna. So the point is that the same sun, which is able to heat up the wick, let's just say I think it was a wick, but in this particular case, because of the focus, it was able to burn away, light up the very wick itself. So that is the purpose of Nididhyasanam. And so a repeated practice of meditation backed by some knowledge, because meditation in Vedanta cannot be done without a backing of Shravanam and Mananam. All of that has to be done prior to it. But if it is done, but yet is not yet effective, then the meditation becomes imperative. So this is all part of the teaching of the Vedanta, and so that's the purpose of the meditation. So very briefly, what we will do is to do a meditation today in a few minutes, and one of the steps of the meditation that I think you're all very familiar with is to take a seat and then collect yourself and then to do a sankalpa. So the sankalpa is framing the meditation so that you have a clearer idea about exactly what you are doing. So this is part of the focus. So in the focus, if you have, just like a picture, if you have a frame around the picture, then it makes you concentrate on the picture. Okay? And so the sankalpa is a frame around your meditation. And it is best done in the form of a prayer, I think, because you have two benefits from the sankalpa. It frames your meditation, and it also involves Ishvara in helping you, making your meditation more effective. So this would be called a sankalpa. So the sankalpa that I will use this morning is one that I think some of my students are familiar with. It's a common sankalpa, and it is best done in the morning time when you wake up. So just a very, I told you I'm not going to give an introduction to meditation, but I'm giving it anyway in some form or the other. So the meditation should be done, hopefully, preferably in the morning, when your mind has rested and it is now fresh. I usually have a cup of tea or something like that, so that I'm fully awake from sleep, and then and I try to do it the same time, more or less the same time, but in the morning time, and in the same place, and preferably in front of a vigraha of Dakshinamurti or Shiva or whoever you want to pray, and to do it regularly, not skip a day. And in those days when you have to skip for some reason or the other, supposing you have to catch a plane in the morning, and the plane is at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and you have to go to the airport at 4:30 or whatever, you have to wake up at 4:30 to go to the airport, then, which has happened to me also, like everybody else, then what I do is I normally try to do meditation for between half hour to 45 minutes to an hour or something. But at least I do it for 5 minutes. It's just a few minutes, so that the santati is not broken, that sequence is not broken. And so when you do the meditation in the morning, then you can start with asanams, just sitting there and doing a sankalpa. So today the sankalpa that we will do is the morning sankalpa. And this is I won't have time to really explain the verse. Pratar smarami hridi samspuradatma tattvam. That's the verse. So I won't have a full translation of that today. I won't have time for doing that. But let me explain the significance of the sankalpa along with the subject of the nididhyasanam, kind of all in one. So let us just do that. Okay, so let's start with that. I'm going to shut off these bright lights. I sit on a chair with my body upright, not leaning against the back of the chair. With my eyes closed and 2 hands in my lap, my feet firmly on the ground, and the fingers of the hands clasping each other. I consciously relax all parts of my body. And I start with a sankalpa. Om Pratar Smarami Hridi Samspuradatma Tattvam Satchit Sukham Paramahamsa Gatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptam Abhaiti Nityam Tat Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangaha. As the leader of your own body-mind complex, you set an objective for the meditative session. You tell your body and mind that I sit here to remind myself in the morning, pratar smarami, the true nature of myself as being different from the stages of my experience, which is waking, dreaming, and sleeping. And this true nature is that of like an ocean of consciousness which is knowledge, which is also is in the form of knowledge and unlimited. I am not any one particular body-mind complex. This is what I am going to focus on, and this is what all of us should be focusing on. Hey my body and hey my mind. Pratar smarami hridi samspuradatma tattvam satchit sukham paramahamsa gatim turiyam yat swapna jagara sushuptam avaiti nityam tat brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangha.